Zone on the road to the Super Bowl. Every game on the schedule crucial, it take a toll. It don't matter if we at home or on the road. You try to tackle, I'll truck a sucker and take it soul. I'm staring at 4th and goal, gotta find an open hole. A linebacker just close a hole where I'm supposed to go. So now I'm thinking my centers are all pro, so I trust he can make a waffle wherever the ball go. Yeah, there's 5 seconds on the play clock. The crowd was loud, but they stopped. Now it's silent while they watch. They stand off in the red zone. All I see is red home. Watch me get this touchdown and this W and head home.
Welcome in, Cowboys Nation, to Game Day Live, the pregame show presented by Underdog Fantasy. Skywalker still to my got Jesse Holley, former Dallas Cowboy, Mr. 4th and Long himself. We remote today, but we still going to bring y'all the heat. And as Jesse likes to say, I like this a lot, man. We like Braille, because you can what?
You feel us when we speak.
I love that, man. I just love that. You need to trademark that. That's some good stuff.
The sports talk equivalent of Braille, baby. They feel us when we speak.
That's some good stuff, man. That's some good stuff. Hey, Jesse, listen. We were talking earlier behind the scenes, and we like, man, this feels like a damn preseason game.
Yeah, man.
That's all your tweet. You was like, it's gonna be one of them games I'm gonna be struggling to stay up, and I hope it's like that, to be honest, because that means Cowboys are putting this thing away. But Cowboys Nation, this is not an ideal matchup that we thought it would be 3 weeks ago. We thought this was going to be 2 heavyweight teams fighting for they still fighting for the playoffs, but in different manners, Jesse.
Right. No, they are. And the Cowboys, by winning the game against Philadelphia, it's kind of still kept themselves in somewhat of a fighting chance of winning the division. And, it's funny how the league plays out, because Cowboys win tonight, and then all the pressure now goes back to the Philadelphia Eagles to have to go and win this Sunday versus the New Orleans Saints. So that's the plus for us. But on the flip side, for Tennessee, they're like, listen, this game, in essence, means absolutely nothing to us, because our season hinges on what we do next week versus Jacksonville. In the window of the Jacksonville-Tennessee game, that team right there now wins the AFC South, and then they go into the playoffs. They have a first-round bye, yada, 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 yada. So, in all of that moving and shaking, it leaves us right here with a game on Thursday night in week, what is it, 16?
17.
17 of the season, leaves week 17 of the season with the game that feels like it should have been played in August. So, right. I think one of our listeners just said, Mark Smith just said, the best thing about this game might be the uniforms, because when you look at it, for the Cowboys' sake, I hope that they get up early on this football team and get some of those guys who need the necessary rest out of this football game. The Tennessee Titans, they aren't even filling their whole active roster. You get to have 48 on game day. They're only putting in 47. And, a host of guys, Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, their entire defensive front won't be playing in this football game. So it should be easy pickings for the Cowboys tonight. But
we've been
that's why they play the games.
That's why they play the games. We've been here. Isn't it crazy? how we have that weird itch back behind our neck, like,
Yeah.
oh man, the last time the Cowboys was favored by 17 points at home against a 1-10 team that wasn't supposed to be all that good. It took a game-winning drive in the last seconds to win, and then a Hail Mary to not be fulfilled. So
We have DCSD. When you go into the service, you got PTSD.
right,
We got DCSD.
Dallas
Dallas Cowboys syndrome. Whatever the syndrome is, we got that.
you
Because
got that.
you go to these games, you go like, man, and that kind of takes us into our pregame show of asking again the same question again: Who is this football team? Right? Who is the Dallas Cowboys? Are they a bunch of hymns? Are they a well put together team? Are they consistent? Who are the Cowboys? Because we feel this way because of what history has done to us. What this history, recent history, distant history has done to us when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys. And so we go into these games a lot of times and we have that little bit of queasiness and that little bit of kind of thing that like over our shoulder, like, what team is actually going to show up? The team that plays down the competition, or the team that comes out and looks up and goes, this team should not be on the same field with the.
Uh-oh. Hold tight, Cowboys Nation. We'll get Jesse Holley back in here in 1 second. In 1 second. Just hold tight for your boy. Hold tight. The game will be streaming on Amazon Prime, I believe, and NFL Plus. Jose. Nope, your phone's good, Bruce. Your phone's good. I think Jesse is remote himself, and just we're gonna push through the service. Just hang tight with us. We'll get through it. We'll get through it. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go, Cowboys. We're good. We're good. We're good. We got him back, man, and we're ready to roll here. So you mentioned at the top of your speech there about putting pressure on Philly. That's why when people were saying rest this, rest that, to an extent, guys like Tony Pollard, right, who is going to be out today, and let's kind of hit our game day catch up and get to our inactives, right? Leighton Vander Esch, James Washington, Will Greer, Jalen Tolbert, Trayvon Mullen, Marquise Bell, and I heard Christy Scales state that Mackenzie Alexander was dealing with something too. He's not listed as inactive, but I don't know if he'll play unless that was a swerve there. And then the big one, Jesse, was Tony Pollard. Listen, I get certain guys who are dealing with things. Yeah, sure, sit them down if they literally can't go out there and play. But we also have to remember the Cowboys are playing for the division still. Until the fat lady sings, I don't think you can just treat this thing like the Titans are treating this thing, because it does matter for Dallas to win. Like, it really does matter to them. Now, how they win and who they win with is a different story. And do you need XYZ player? Maybe, maybe not, but these guys are out there getting paid too, and we've been here before a few weeks ago, so I wouldn't be taking this thing lightly if I was them. I'd come out here full throttle trying to get ahead so you can then sit these guys later, Jesse.
Yeah, and here is the conundrum that the Cowboys face, because I get what you're saying, right? Get these guys some rest, put the pressure back on Philadelphia. Now, here's the interesting thing. What happens if Philadelphia wins, right? They go and win. That shores it up. They're division champs. We move on. And now people are saying, well, then we'll sit our starters against Washington. And I look at that and I go, are we good enough to sit guys for an entire week, whether that's Dak or Zeke or Tony or Leighton, or are we that good to sit guys and maybe lose rhythm when this team hasn't truly found its rhythm that it's need? Tyron Smith still needs reps. Tyler Smith still needs reps. There's a lot of guys on this team that still need the reps. So it's an interesting thing. As a player, at this point in time of the season, all I'm thinking about is playing. Like,
Yeah.
I just want to play football. I want to go out there and do what I do. I don't want to lose my rhythm. I don't want to lose my thing. I get being injured and all that kind of stuff, but that's the delicate thing that the Cowboys have to kind of work through. And at the end of the day, we've kind of known for weeks now, this thing is gonna have to go to Tampa Bay. Well, I shouldn't say that
Well,
because they're gonna have to figure this thing out and beat Carolina.
yeah.
And Carolina's playing some good football right now. I still believe that Tom Brady's good enough to beat Carolina and sew things up for his football team.
He lost
But
to him earlier.
it's a dicey situation that the Cowboys find themselves in. And at the end of the day, you can only play who they put on the schedule. But you got to figure out something that you're going to do with your team and making sure that they keep their rhythm.
They'll know more after Sunday, right? Like you said, if Philly wins, then you do go into Week 18, and I think you make some decisions. But I do think there needs to be context added there, right? Like I don't think you play everybody 4 quarters in Week 18 if it literally does not matter. But I do think you need to keep some. Hey, if you need to get a quarter with Dak and them in there, just to keep that rhythm flowing, right? If you need to get Tyler in a quarter, just to kind of, because he's playing right tackle, he needs all the snaps he can get at right tackle because he has to get acclimated over there. T.Y. Hilton, continue to get him going. So the conversation will change and shift after Sunday if Philly locks it up. If not, Washington's going to be fighting for a playoff spot too. And I wouldn't personally mind that game mattering because I want the Cowboys to be going into this game kind of fighting, right? Like every time they go into the playoffs, they're not really fighting. You ever notice that? Think about it. Right. Dak Prescott 13-3. You're not fighting. They were sitting at the end of the year in that game. 2018, they had to fight to get going, right? But the division was already wrapped up by the time they got to the end of that. And then last year, come on, man, they were playing the Eagles third string, and the game that they needed to define to us was the Cardinals game, and they lost that one. So I wouldn't mind a fight to get in the playoffs, me personally. I'm just saying.
I'm right there with you, bro. Like I'm 100% with you, and I think fighting gives you a little bit of an edge. To use a term from the late great Jason Garrett. I know he's not dead, but the late great Jason Garrett. I think fighting gives you a little issue in that. You know what I mean? It gives you that. It still gives you that hunger.
Yeah.
Because there is a propensity for this team at times to take a breath, to exhale, and go, okay, we made it. And and when you look at other teams, like even the Panthers, even Tampa Bay, they are fighting, right? Like they are fighting. That's all. They are scrapping and clawing and scratching, and they're like, man, we got to do everything that we got to do because we on the brink of this thing not even being real to us.
San Fran last year, bro.
Say again.
San Fran last year, they came into the wild card game like, hey, we've been scrapping to get into the playoffs for the last month. You think we scared of a wild card team? A team that's kind of broken? No, they came in there with the boombox and Kodak Black. Like, let's go. Backyard.
Super Gremlin.
Come on, man. But today, on the flip side with the Titans, they are punting. Let's just be completely honest. That doesn't mean they're not going to fight. Mike Vrabel, I commend Mike Vrabel as a head coach, man. He's one of those, maybe the AFC version of Dan Campbell, it feels like. A guy I think that the team kind of rallies behind in a more blue-collar way. And they hit Dallas in the NFL world with a bit of a swerve. A couple hours ago. Yep. I did a show this morning with Zach and Austin of A to Z Sports Nashville, and we're talking about Malik Willis and another game for Malik Willis and his struggles and getting more reps for him. And then about an hour after that show, Joshua Dobbs will be the starter for the Tennessee Titans today. Let me read off some stats for Joshua Dobbs for his career. 10 for 17, 45 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. I didn't say preseason. I didn't say a game. I didn't say a half. His career, he is 10 for 17, 58% completion, 45 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Jesse, I know we're supposed to respect and all that, but if I swear, what is it? I swear for God.
I swear for Lord.
If Joshua Dobbs comes in to Tennessee, and he ain't been there but for 3 weeks, and dices them up like a Gardner Minshew.
He's been there 8 days. He's been there 8 days.
8 dang on days. Y'all might not see me. It might be the Jesse Holley post-game show. And I'm look, all due respect to Joshua Dobbs, but you feel me? Like this.
Here we go. All due respect, followed by complete disrespect. Sign Will
Disgusting.
Skywalker Steele.
With all due respect, Twinkle Toes. I mean, all right, man. So real football talk. A kid that's been drafted in 2017 hasn't played much. Is starting over a guy who was drafted this year as a rookie. And you were just talking about how Austin hit you up about Malik Willis, who I thought was going to play, right? But you're hearing that they just don't believe in him to get W's right now, which is scary because they got to rely on him or Dobbs to get into the playoffs.
To answer the Dobbs question first, the one thing that I will give Dobbs just off the rip, while he may not have a ton of NFL experience, the kid is smart. Like, this is a kid who like graduated with like a neuroscience physicist NASA degree or something like that. Like, the dude is a smart dude. So digesting the information, I don't think will be a problem for Dodd. The thing that doesn't help him is, for a guy like that who doesn't have any career starts, who doesn't have many stats, all that kind of stuff, you would love, and I mean love to be able to turn around and hand the football off to 6'3", 250-pound Matt Truck and Derrick Henry, but he won't be out there.
He ain't playing.
You would love to have a safety valve of a 6'2", 215-pound mammoth beast of a receiver in A.J. Brown. He's in Philadelphia. So when you go out there as Josh Dobbs, you're looking around and you're saying, is it Traylon Burks? Like, where does the football go for me to have an opportunity to be successful? But then, I was hearing that, they'll probably do a lot of short passing game. And that's cool for me because I want to see short passing game. I also want to see Malik Willis because I thought, man, he's a runner. That would kind of give us a little bit of a look at how we are looking at a running quarterback going forward,
right,
and get some more reps with guys lining up and being, assignment sound, because we got a little.
Uh-oh. We'll get him back, Cowboys Nation. We'll get him back. But I feel him, though. I feel him. Bear with me. I feel him on that. I was kind of hoping the Cowboys could get a little bit of Malik Willis in this game to kind of prepare them, per se, for a potential rubber match against Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. But that could be a whole different discussion there. There's whispers that injury is a little bit worse than what they're saying. And, of course, he's going to push through it and play in the playoffs. But I'm just saying, man, I don't think you want your quarterback running with a shoulder injury. If he can barely I'm going to leave it. That's a whole nother discussion for another day. We'll wait for Jesse to come back through. Did we get him? Yes, indeed. We got him. Joshua Dobbs and Malik Willis was a conversation we were having. I was just telling them, I'm with you. I was definitely anticipating playing Malik Willis to deal with some of that read option if they decide to go that route. But, yes, he's a running quarterback, but it didn't seem like they were tailoring that offense towards that anyway, which is a whole nother discussion for Tennessee fans, right? Their offensive coordinator. Yeah. Ooh, is he muted? I'm sorry. I got you. My bad. Go ahead. You're good.
I was going to say, a quarterback like Josh Willis, when they come from these college systems, he had Hugh Freeze at Liberty, and you come into the league, and now the verbiage changed. You have this long verbiage of how to call a play and the reads of a play, to where in college it was for them like, hey, we're going right Bronco, and that would be the play. And in Bronco, everything was up. The protection was in there. The route concept was in there. The running back, all that stuff was all in that one play. And now you come into the league and you have a whole sentence. And then now it's not a one read and I throw it right there. You got to be able to kind of see through stuff and make the plays while you have other people who are running at you that is just as good as you are. So for Malik Willis, it's at times, and a lot of rookies go through this. This this is not,
exclusive to Malik. No.
exclusive to Malik Willis. There's a lot of dudes who go through this in their rookie season. Again, it just so happens that you don't have the. I mean, look at who was the number 2 overall pick, Zach Wilson. You think he ain't having trouble up there in New York City? But a guy like Mike White, who's had some experience, who's been around, who understands how to read defenses and call plays out, he has a little bit more of an understanding than a guy like Zach Wilson, who was able to play a little bit of YOLO ball in college. Now he had to come to the league, and he's like, oh, I'm not the best athlete out here. Oh, my arm isn't as strong as it needs to be. And it's the same thing for Malik Willis. You hope that he figures it out. Some guys do. Eventually, some guys don't. But such is life. And tonight we gotta look at what we have to look at with Josh Dobbs, and whatever the future holds for Malik Willis. God bless him. I hope him and wish him the best.
You mentioned about Mike White kind of understanding, basically being a pro. I think that's why they went with Dobbs. Yes, he hasn't played a lot, but he's been in multiple systems. He's been in multiple training camps, offenses, around different coaches, players. He hasn't had snaps in actual games, but preseason and training camps are matter. He's had more of those than Malik Willis has. So I think he knows how to be a professional quarterback. And I think something I was saying behind the scenes, I think that's something that Vrabel is like, hey, at least in this game, talking about Dan Quinn, I don't think we can have a quarterback like Malik Willis going up against Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn confuses veterans, right? So, what would he do with the young quarterback that doesn't have weapons, with all due respect to the tight end that they have from Maryland, Chig, he's pretty good, and Traylon Burks, but they don't have enough weapons to put any fear in the Cowboys defense. But on the flip side, Jesse, what do you want to see from this Cowboys offense who at one point coming into this game, I was like, all right, yes, they're about to go up against a really stout run defense who was like second in the league or first in the league in rush yards, and let's see if they can kind of play some physical ball against a physical line. But they are literally benching everybody that matters up front. Yeah. So I don't know that you can really gauge anything from that anymore. But, I mean, there's something you want to take away from this in a positive manner offensively, even though they're benching everybody. But what do you really want to see this week against the Titans?
Yeah, I want to see clean. I want them as clean as their uniforms. I want the quarterback. Hey, how about this be the game that you don't throw an interception? However you feel those interceptions may come, let's limit that. Let's break that streak. You know what I'm saying? Let's end that streak with the turnovers. Offensive line, I still want to see you guys be clean in your communication. Tyron Smith, Tyler Smith, I want to make sure you guys secure those edges. It's been shaky on both sides the last couple of weeks between those guys. There was a moment last week in the Philadelphia game where it was back to back. First, your right tackle got beat for a sack, then your left tackle got beat for a sack. And it was like that type of situation right there. You can't have that. You can't have your two tackles get beaten back-to-back plays. So I want to see clean. I want to see them to continue to come out, implement guys like T.Y. Hilton, get him some more reps, get Michael Gallup going, continue the dominance of CeeDee Lamb. All those things can still happen for this Cowboys offensively. They just got to come out and just be clean and work on your stuff. Like Kellen Moore, go out there and work on your stuff. Don't glitch. Don't find yourself just doing some YOLO stuff. Run the football solidly. Let's not find ourselves running up the middle on 1st and 10 like we do all the time, but get a little bit creative. Be clean, no penalties, that type of stuff. And most importantly for me offensively is four has to come out of this game clean, injury-free.
Yeah.
Like that is the one thing that I fear, because sometimes when you get these other guys in there, guys falling at legs and feet and
they try to make a name.
Huh?
They try to make a name for themselves. Yeah.
These guys are fighting for a job. Like these guys on this team, these second and third string guys. You start seeing those future contracts that come out in January. Dudes is like, yo, I need to get my name up there. I need to be in that situation where coach is looking at me and say, okay, he can help us going forward, whether that be in that playoff rotation or in the future with the contract to come back to the Tennessee Titans. So for me, offensively, be sound, come out here, do what you do, keep the train rolling. You've been playing well. Offensively, eliminate the penalties, eliminate the mistakes. You've done that penalty-wise. I think in the last couple of games, you've had like three or four or less penalties a game. Just limit the turnovers, be clean, and get out of there injury-free.
Yeah, one other thing I want to see, you touched on it a little bit, was getting T.Y. Hilton involved. Ty had two big plays in that last game, right? 4th and 8, and then he had the 30-yard 3rd and 30, 52-yard. I'm sorry, on 3rd and 30. So I would like to see them get him involved, get Michael Gallup back going. I know there's no Tony Pollard, but there's going to be Zeke and Malik. So I want to see Malik Davis get going a little bit here, and maybe you'll see some Quadre Ollison. Get a bit of a crazy feedback. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but I can. But take it away here real quick. Let me see if I can get that. If I can catch this feedback on your end.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about Zeke, he said earlier this week, this is the freshest he's ever been, and kudos to Zeke for being honest and upfront with a lot of the stuff that he talked about when it comes to sharing those reps with Tony Pollard. He said at first, I wasn't feeling that, and I get it. I get it, man. When you come in and you're all-star and you're all-pro, and they like, yo, you got to share reps, you got to split reps. You're like, hold on, man, like, not on my watch. And you saw the way that kind of affected him last year, playing through those injuries, and it just didn't look well. And for Zeke, it's kind of he's matured to a point when he's like, you know what, this might not be a bad thing. And the young boy, Tony Pollard, has gotten his opportunity and is 12 yards away from 1,000 yards. I think Zeke's about another 111 yards away from 1,000 yards. But he said, I'm the freshest that I've been in a very long time at this point in time of the season. And if you're talking about the Cowboys making the long run, you want guys to be fresh.
Yes.
Look at this defensively. There ain't a lot of fresh guys over there. There are guys who are holding on, like literally holding on with Band-Aids and chewing gum and kinetic tape and all that kind of crazy stuff. They're holding on. So for a guy like Zeke to be able to recognize that and say, hey, this is the freshest I've ever, like, not ever been, but I've been in a long time, and I'm okay with Tony Pollard having that opportunity to shine. That shows a level of maturity that, it doesn't come early on in your career. It takes a little time, but Zeke is showing that. And today is one of those days where he's like, all right, now I get a chance to be the bell cow again. Go out there and do what you got to do. And maybe, just maybe, with a good enough game, you might get the 100 and whatever. I think he has like 800 and
he's
like
close
800 yards. So you may get the yards that you need to go out there and be effective in this football game and to leave this season with another 1,000-yard season under your belt.
You have the opportunity to have 2,000-yard rushers and a 1,300-yard receiver. I don't know how many times it's happened in Dallas Cowboys history, but I'd venture to guess 0. Now, again, there's an extra game, though, right? So that changes things a little bit. But before we get to the final block of the show, kickoff will be in about 10 minutes or so here. The Game Day Live pregame show presented by Underdog Fantasy. Make sure y'all stick around. I got my high-low underdog picks. Got 4 of them. So in about a minute, I want to get to that. Before I get to that, though, I'm hoping that this Texans game that they had a few weeks ago is a lesson learned, right? Meaning they came out. Oh, hold tight. Hold tight. We'll be right back. Almost there, man. We almost there. Almost there. Almost there. What was I saying? Oh, lesson learned. Lesson learned about the Texans game, man. I feel like we had this conversation about the Texans game. Like, hey, when you're going up against an inferior team, 1-10-1, what's the mentality? I think we can all say that they definitely probably took that game for granted and they came out flat. And you saw what happened. They were in a fight. I'm hoping that is a lesson that they learn. They come out in this game and they are matching the fight that Vrabel and those boys are going to bring. And they put this game away, like you said, so guys can get some rest in that second half. Against the Texans, we kind of laughed and but this game, like, seriously, they need to do that. So I kind of wanted to put that out there. Hopefully they learned their lesson in the Texans game.
I'm with you. I hope they did do, because, these are the games that you should be. There should be guys on the sideline like, that's a cold, dead wedding, dog. It's a cold, dead wedding. Like, you should be eating sunflower seeds. You should be on the sideline with your ball cap on, and cheering on the young players and being like, man, hit the sunflower seeds or the Twizzlers or whatever it may be. Like this, is what it should be at this point in time of the game. We shouldn't be in this game late to the third quarter, fourth quarter, talking about, boy, we got to pull this one out. This is again, they punted this game for you. Like they literally said, I know you got it on you. Where's your white flag at? You keep your white flag on you. I know it's somewhere near in your studio. They should be waving that white flag and being like, yo, that's it for us, man. We gonna just let y'all have this one and get ready for next week.
Indeed, man. Let's get to these underdog fantasy week 17 pick'ems. Listen, guys, I know fantasy football is just about over for a lot of you guys because y'all fantasy season sucked, but that's cool. You could still win some money on Underdog Fantasy. Head on over, use the promo code ATOZ, and on game days, they have a cool little game you could play, and it's their pick'em high-low entries. We've been crushing it, I think, all year. We had a little weird spot, but lately we've been hitting some good ones. Last week we won some money, and if you do win some money, send them in to me or Jesse, man. We'll put them on the show. We got a few more of these things. Hopefully, like 5 more games worth of these things. But that's all I'm saying. Yeah. If we can get 5 more games worth of these things, that'd be fantastic. But if you use our promo code ATOZ, they will match a deposit up to $100. Here we go. Dak Prescott. And so you can't see him today. Dak Prescott, higher or lower? 251 total yards in tonight's game.
I see what they did there.
Mm-hmm.
Dak rushed for 41 yards last week. They want you to chase. They want you to chase that. They want you to chase that number. Ooh, that's a good one. 250.
I know.
I'm gonna go higher.
I went higher as well. I think he's gonna play at least 3.5 quarters, right? Yes, and if he plays 3.5 quarters, I think he'll hit the 250 yards. I know he rushed for a season high 41 yards. I don't expect him to have to do that again. But this is one of the worst pass defenses in the NFL with their starters. So now they're going to be without their starters, and the Cowboys are playing theirs. So I think that he hits that 251. And one of the guys that they're going to have to defend, Jesse, CeeDee Lamb, higher or lower, 5.5 receptions.
Oh, higher. Next.
Yeah, easy one there. I got higher as well.
One more time on that one. Next.
Dalton Schultz, higher. You know I'm putting Dalton Schultz every week.
Always.
Dalton Schultz, higher or lower, 39.5 receiving yards.
It's wet outside.
Oh, is it raining?
It's raining. So I'm gonna say, I think the ball's gonna be spread around a lot today. So I'm gonna say higher.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go lower when you said that. Okay, I got higher as well. With this thing being being wet outside and raining, maybe they don't try to air it out downfield too much. So that means you kind of just dump it off to Dalton Schultz, getting some third manageables, get some quick first down. So I got higher as well. Then finally, Joshua Dobbs. I had to throw him in here. Higher or lower? 150.
Lower. Lower. I don't care what you say. Lower.
This should be easy money.
7 yards. I'm going lower. Lower.
Joshua Dobbs, 1 yard. 158.5 passing yards. Absolutely picked lower.
I go lower. I go lower.
Again, if y'all don't see me on here in the post game show, just know Joshua Dobbs done did something. That's all I'm saying.
Micah Parsons might get back in Micah Parsons may get back in the defensive year of the running award after this game. Like he might go ahead and get like 3-4 sacks in the first half and find himself back in the mix with Nick Bosa.
That is a perfect segue to Mouse in the House. My Mouse in the House is their left tackle, who I found out this morning. I believe his name is Dennis Daly. Maybe is his name. Titan fans. That's his name. Dennis Daly. He's given up 12 sacks this year. He is one of the worst tackles in the National Football League, and he's their backup because their starter, I believe, got hurt. So, and if Micah's playing, you're right. I think Micah might end up getting back into that discussion.
Bro, you know that there are like certain left tackles in this league that don't give up 12 sacks in a career.
In a career,
like in a 8, 9, 10-year career, I don't think Trent Williams has given up 12 sacks in his career.
Well, this
in his career.
This fella here,
And he
bro.
didn't give up 12 in one season. So yeah, Michael might find himself back in the defensive player of the year award running.
That's my
after
mouse
this
in the
game.
house. Is that left tackle? Who would you consider? I mean, you can pick anything at this point. But.
Yeah, I went with the Titans defensive line. When you take away all those guys that they're not playing, that defensive line is, and mainly I literally when I was talking about this game earlier, I was like, man, my boy Nate Newton, he always goes, Micah Parsons. And I was like, Jeffrey Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that dude can wreck your game from anywhere across that defensive line, from tackle, like he can line up anywhere and give you a tough day. And I said, if Aaron Donald wasn't in the National Football League, he would be the best interior defensive lineman in the league. He probably would be neck and neck.
Yeah, Chris Jones.
He's that dominant. He's that disruptive. So with those guys being out, to me, it's the Titans defensive line, and the Cowboys should really get after him earlier in this game, dominate him, give Dak time in the pocket, and give Zeke and Malik Davis or whoever else is going to run the football back there, Felix Jones, whoever is going to run the football back there, opportunity to take over the game.
All right, man, here's the predictions. I think we both have the Cowboys winning, but I guess the score will be about how much. Do they cover the spread? I believe it's somewhere around like 14.5 points. You think they cover?
Yeah, I got the Cowboys. And this is going to be fun for this defense because this defense has given up like 30 points a game in the last 3 games, over 400-yard total offense. They still only got 1 sack in the last 3 games. So it's going to be real dependent upon this defense to step up. But I got Cowboys 30, Titans 13.
This thing jumped up to 17.5.
Ooh, this is college. That's college numbers right there.
Yeah, it was the Texans. What? Oh, that's the Texans. I'm sorry. My bad. The Texans game was 17.5. I want to see what the Titans is. See if they cover this thing. 1 second here. The spread
earlier, right?
14.
14. Okay.
So it's up to 14. I think they cover. I think they cover. I think they cover easily, and I think we might see some Cooper Rush in the fourth quarter. Titans are, like I said, they play tough. Vrabel, I don't think is going to just lie down. It may come out and throw everything at the Dallas Cowboys early, but again, I always talk about cream rising to the top. I think it rises pretty quickly. I think it rises pretty damn quickly, and they get out of this victory, out of this game with the victory, just about hitting their point total with Dak Prescott. They're averaging 36 points per game with Dak since he's returned. I got him around 34. I'll give the Titans 13 and 13. If they get more than 13, listen, man. So 34-13, Cowboys cover the spread, win comfortably. Come on back at halftime, and listen, Cowboys Nation. I'm going to let Jesse take over the halftime show if I'm on this halftime.
I'll get my internet fixed by halftime. I've been having some. I've been glitching. I got a little telephone today. This is what happens when we be remote, but I'm gonna fix it. I know what I got to do to fix it. So I'm gonna get that corrected so I can stop glitching. So I can get the Kellen Moore up off me. You know what I'm saying? So I can deliver what I need to deliver and not have that Kellen Moore glitch going on my end.
It's all good, brother. I'm going to hold you down. But yeah, if you fix it up, we good to go for halftime. Make sure y'all join us back here on the halftime show and then following the halftime for the post-game show, Cowboys Nation. Enjoy the first half. We will see you then. Peace.